Hello, hi, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in to the second editions of Energy Power Talk, brought to you by Engineer 2021. And I'm Jason here, and I'll be the MC for these sessions. I know it's a busy week and it's a busy hour at this hour, and we want to congratulate you for being here because we believe that there's no better time than right now to understand what is the outlook for 2021. As shared, this Power Talk is brought to you by Engineer 2021, which is Malaysia's first engineering exhibition and convention scheduled to take place this year from 8 to 11 September at Kuala Lumpur Convention Centre. Engineer 2021 is jointly organized by IEM and CIS, and we strive towards becoming the premier business event for the engineering community. And we have prepared a short video to show you how you can leverage on this one and only one dedicated business event for your business. Let us play this video to you.
IEM Convention and Engineer will be the must-go-to event for the engineering community and industry. We at IEM endeavors to be the prime mover of the industry, and we look forward for you to be part of this one and only one engineering outsourcing marketplace. You can be with us to drive this purpose together at Engineer 2021.
Yes, we are as excited as you are with Engineer 2021, an event of the inaugural IEM conventions. So when you stay till the end of today's Power Talk, you will discover what are the business opportunities, in particular, if you are in the energy industry, be it on EE or IE solutions. You see, if you have any questions, actually when we started just now, we saw some of you have already asked, how do you pose any questions to our speakers today? So if you have any questions, all you're going to do, you just type your questions in the comment box below and attention to a particular speakers or all of them that you would like to attention to. And we'll be answering them at the end of these sessions. And firstly, I also want to welcome those who are joining us live here right now, watching it. We see some of the audience, we see, name a few, we see Yong, we see Pong, Mr. Chan, Joyce, Yanko, Kai Wong, and Rozai, Ji Liang Liu, as well as Muhammad Hafiz, Juso, Afika, Leila, Lillian, and many more, Vali, as well as Ahmad Munif. Congratulations for tuning in. So if you have just tuned in, we are going to start very soon. So if your peers who are in the EE or RE or in whole, they are in the energy industry, do share this session that's broadcasting live right now with your peers, because today we have a great lineup of panelists who will be discussing a very, very relevant topics for today's world. So for today, our topic, we are going to focusing on the Energy Outlook 2021. And we are very honored to have three special guests as today's panelists. Firstly, today we have Mr. Zulkifli Umar. He is the Deputy Director of Energy Efficiency and Conservation of the Department of Industry Operation, Energy Commission Malaysia. We also have Engineer Leong Siu Meng, past President of ASHRAE Malaysia Chapter. We also have Mr. Yong Siu Wei, Chief Executive Officer and Board of Director of HASIUONE. And HASIUONE is a member of the Electrical and Electronics Association of Malaysia, short for TEAM. In addition, this session is moderated by Engineer Yao Chao Feng. He is the Organizing Chairman of Engineer 2021. Let me share with you a quick background of our panelists as well as moderators. Firstly, we have Mr. Zulkifli Umar. He begins his career with Energy Commission Malaysia in 2005 in the legal department performing enforcement tasks under the Electricity Supply Act 1990 and Gas Supply Act 1993. A shift to the Department of Gas Development and Regulation of Energy Commission Malaysia in 2008 to perform tasks related to the safety of gas installations. He is also appointed as the Head of Demand Side Management Unit in 2012, now known as the Energy Efficiency and Conservation Unit. And to name a few areas where currently Mr. Zulkifli is focusing on, and that includes enforcement and promotion of the efficient management of electrical energy regulations, EMEER 2008, minimum energy performance standard, MEPS, requirements for domestic and industrial appliances, as well as National Energy Efficiency Action Plan 2016 to 2025. And up next, we are also great to be able to invite Engineer Leong Siu Meng. Engineer Leong, he is a certified professional engineer, graduated with a Bachelor of Engineering degree in Melbourne, Australia in 1976. He is qualified as a GBI facilitator and also commissioning specialist. He is a UNIDO, stand for United Nations Development Organization certified, as well as ENMS, Energy Management System expert. He was the consultant responsible for the thermal energy preliminary study as part of the drafting of the ongoing Energy Efficiency and Conservation EECA Act for the Ministry of Energy and Natural Resources, KETSA, Malaysia in 2018 to 2019. He was also involved in the preparation of Green Technology Foresight 2030 study for the Malaysian Industry Government Group for High Technology in 2030. He is currently a technical resource person with the Electronic Research Institute for ASEAN and East Asia, involved in energy studies and energy efficiency project in the ASEAN and East Asia region. So for those who just tuned into today's sessions, remember to give a like as well as share this live broadcast that we're doing right now so that more of the peers who are in the energy sectors will be able to take part in this very knowledgeable session that we're going to be doing today. Okay? And the third panelist that we have today is Mr. Yong Siu Wei. Mr. Yong is a Board of Engineers Malaysia registered mechanical engineer and has been in the power engineering industry for more than 14 years with extensive experience in various operational, sales, business development, and strategic senior management roles. Industry exposures cover business dealing with new energy technology companies, utilities, government, and private sectors, as well as infrastructure project investment, merger and acquisition exercises. Currently, as the Chief Executive Officer, Director, and Shareholder of HASIUONE, he leads the company business operation and investment business in the power grid, which includes transmission, distributions, and automations, as well as renewable energy, specializes in solar sector for major power utilities such as TNB, Sarawak Energy Berhad, ASEAN Utility Market, and also non-utility industries. As mentioned, this session is moderated by Engineer Yao Chao Feng. Engineer Yao has more than 18 years of working experience in large and reputable consultant firm. He has established his own M&E consultancy practice, Durian Professional Sdn Berhad. His exposures includes large scale of electrical system design for various types of building, plants, and aviation industry, RE plants, and as well as data center. Engineer Yao has and is still playing an extensive role actively in the Institution of in the Institutions of Engineers Malaysia, IEM. He has been involved in IEM since 2001. Currently is the Secretary of Standing Committee on Professional Practices Committee and the organizing chairman of IEM Convention and Engineer 2021. His activeness in engineering fraternity further amplified through his involvement in ASEAN level. He is currently the AER Head Commissioner under ASEAN Federation of the Engineering Organizations, short for AFEO, whereby he advocates the mobility of engineers within the ASEAN countries. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I guess you guys are very excited right now after hearing who are the panelists that we have lined up for today's sessions covering on the topics. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, can you give me your virtual thumbs up in the live broadcast that we're doing right now? Give me a virtual thumbs up as we put our hands together to bring in our moderator, Engineer Yao, to this virtual stage. Engineer Yao?
Thank you, Jason. Thank you for the introduction to me as well as the panelists today. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in to the Engineer Power Talk brought to you by Engineer 2021. And of course, today's topic on Energy Outlook 2021, we will be discussing on challenges as well as outlook of the 2021 in energy efficiency as well as also renewable energy, EE and RE. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, which was adopted by all United Nations member states in 2015, provides a shared blueprint for peace and prosperity for people and the planet now and into the future. And at its heart, there are actually 17 Sustainable Development Goals, 17 SDGs, which are called for. Now, in one of these SDG number 7, called for the ensuring of access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all. And two of the goals in SDG 7 by 2030, the goal is to increase substantially the share of renewable energy in the global energy mix, and also to double the global rate of improvement in energy efficiency. So, ladies and gentlemen, how far are we from achieving this SDG goal number 7? And how does Malaysia work towards these goals? Now, the COVID pandemic has since a year ago put a lot of efforts to a halt, but we have seen some positive outlook for the last few weeks in terms of the recovery, and we have vaccination programs started, and our Prime Minister has also announced last week in revitalizing the economic sector. Now, while we revitalize, what will be the challenges and outlook of the energy sector to our nation and towards achieving the UN goals? Now, I list down here the challenges. Challenge number 1, what is the progress of the adoption of energy efficiency requirements in the country, and how are we going to leverage on its benefits? Challenge number 2, now we know that the COVID pandemic requires us to comply to the latest requirement and guidelines for a better indoor air quality, and thus to increase the energy consumption in the air conditioning and mechanical ventilation systems. So we struggle on price to pay for the fresh air now. Challenge number 3, now we also understand not every building or landowners can make commercial sense to invest in renewable energy solutions such as solar PVs and so on. So no worries. Today, we have 3 panelists, namely Encik Zulkifli Omar, Engineer Leong Siu Meng, Mr. Yong Sian Wei, who will be actually sharing with us the challenges ahead and what are the potential takeaways of the energy outlook in the post-pandemic stage. Now, without further ado, let me invite our first panelist of the day, none other than Encik Zulkifli Omar from the Energy Commission of Malaysia, to join me on the screen and present to us the first topic of this particular talk, energy efficiency initiatives in Malaysia. So, could I invite Encik Zulkifli to the stage, to the screen?
Thank you, Engineer Yao. Can you see the slides?
Yes, the slides are ready for you. The screen is yours, Engineer Zulkifli.
Thank you very much, Engineer Yao. Thank you for the excellent opening and very relevant to the topic that we're going to be discussing today. Secondly, thank you to Mr. Jason, our Master of Ceremony, for the kind introduction. And thirdly, thank you for the organizers for the opportunity to share with you about energy efficiency initiatives in Malaysia. First and foremost, my name is Zulkifli Umar. I'm from Energy Commission, Energy Efficiency and Conservation Unit. Please call me Zul. Well, we have a tagline in Energy Commission, which is Be Energy Smart, which we adopted this a few years ago, just to show people that we need to use energy wisely and of course, in a manner where EE is adopted. Thank you. Well, I'd like to, my outline of my presentation today is a bit of an overview of Energy Commission, the legal framework that we are enforcing, the EE initiatives that we have in Malaysia currently, and I would like to focus also on the current initiatives that we are currently implementing, which is the building energy intensity labeling in the government sector and a bit on the way forward. Okay, this is the final energy consumption by sectors representation, just to show you that the sectors that are most consuming in terms of energy in Malaysia is, of course, number one, transportation sectors, followed by industry sectors, which is about 29.5%, residential and commercial about 12%. So here, our EE initiative is basically focusing on industry, residential, and commercial sectors. Thank you. A bit on the electricity statistic 2014. I haven't got the time to come up with the latest one, but there's not much changes in terms of the fuel that we need to generate electricity, which is still primarily natural gas and coal. We do have a bit of RE coming in terms of solar PV, mini hydro. But the one that I wanted to focus is on your right, which shows the consumption sector for electricity generated in Malaysia, which is number one is being consumed by industry sector, about 40%, and the total number of industry installation in Malaysia registered with TNB is about 25,000. We also have commercial sector in terms of numbers. There are about 1.5 million of them registered with TNB, and they are consuming about 31% of our electricity generated, and followed by domestic sector, which is now it's about 7 million numbers with TNB and consuming about 20%. A bit about EE legal framework in Malaysia. Well, we do have in our Establishment Act of Energy Commission Act 2001 that says that we do need to promote efficiency, economy, and safety in the generation, production, transmission, distribution, supply, and use of electricity, and to promote the use of RE and the conservation of non-renewable energy. We have in Electricity Supply Act 1990, Part 5A, that says that Section 23A, Minister to determine standards, 23B, installation to meet requirements, and Section 23, equipment to meet requirements with regards to efficient use of electricity. In Electricity Regulations 1994, we have the Amendment 2013, which enable us to enforce the minimum energy performance standards and labeling for 5 domestic electrical products, which are air conditioner, refrigerator, television, domestic fan, and lighting. With regards to big installation, we have what we call Efficient Management of Electrical Energy Regulations 2008, which focuses on installation that consume or generate electricity equal or more than 3 million kilowatt hour for 6 consecutive months, and they are required to appoint a registered electrical energy manager registered by Energy Commission. With regards to EE initiatives in Malaysia, the biggest one we have at the moment, and which is we are currently implementing, is called the National Energy Efficiency Action Plan, or NEAP 2016-2025, which comprises of 5 key initiatives. That is to promote 5-star rated appliances, to regulate minimum energy performance standards MAPs, to conduct energy audit and management in building and industries, to promote cogeneration in Malaysia, and also to promote energy efficient building design. So these are the 5 key initiatives under the NEAP that we are currently promoting. With regard to our achievement currently, we have a target set every single year that we need to achieve based on the BAU that we have come up with. So at the moment, up until 2020, we have achieved the target that have been set, which is, if you can see from the 5th row below, the target that we have set, NEAP saving from BAU, is about 2.8% in 2020, but we have achieved 3.29%, not because of the pandemic, but because we have regressed the value so that it matches what we need to analyze. The next thing that we did under NIAP is we have come up with what we call the Energy Efficiency Program under the 11th Malaysia Plan, which is known as the Energy Audit Conditional Grant 1.0 2016-2020. The program is basically giving grant to installation who wish to conduct energy audit, and in return, the installation are required to implement retrofitting to their installation to come up with a certain savings in order to match the grant that we have provided. Under the 11 Malaysia Plan EACG, we have a participation of about 108 industrial sector and 109 commercial building sector, and the average saving for industrial sector is about 11.94%, and average saving for commercial sector is about 18.46%, which we did achieve our target. Good news to everyone, we have we have done some bit of analysis of the program, because the program actually ended in 2022, because we have requested each installation to try to get the savings maximum of 3 years from the date we have given the grant. So these are the outcome of the implementation for industrial sector, where the total reduction of CO2 that we have achieved is about 73,000 ton CO2 equivalent. In terms of kilowatt hour, it's about 111 million kilowatt hour, which in terms of cost saving is about 42 million ringgit, and investment cost that they have to do is about 62 million ringgit. These are the breakdown of the energy saving measures that we have achieved from this program, EACG 1.0. As you can see, the most savings and measures that have been implemented is basically from operation control. We are quite surprised too, because most of operation control only involves minimum investment. It means that we need to do a bit of tweaking here and there, optimize the day-to-day operation, and you can get a lot of savings. The other one is, of course, the lighting, and also the aircon system, chiller, AHU refurbishment. The impact of the program so far is, as I mentioned before, it's about 111 gigawatt hour of savings, about 73 kiloton of CO2. And if you put it into the amount of trees that cannot be cut down, it's about 2.1 million trees. In terms of commercial sector, we have a total savings of about 32 million kilowatt hour and cost savings of about 13 million, with a total CO2 reduction of about 21,000 ton CO2 equivalent. A total investment for commercial sector to achieve this savings about RM 43 million. The analysis of ESM measures for commercial sector is, as you can see, again, operation control is highest measures and savings that we have achieved. It shows that if you do a bit of minor tweaking, optimize your operation, then you can get a lot of savings from there too. The impacts, as mentioned before, is about 32 gigawatt hour, 21 kiloton of CO2, and about 13.68 million. Overall, we have recorded a total of 371 measures in the industrial sectors, and 117 measures that has been conducted. The one that we have listed here as the most common one that have been implemented by both sectors. Good news to everyone that we have received approval and also funding to conduct EACG 2.0 to 2021-2025. We are targeting large industrial and commercial sectors which are currently subjected to the EMA regulations 2008 and who are consuming more than 6 million kilowatt hour over a period of 1 year and electricity bill of more than RM 200,000 ringgit a month. We also will be providing training for those for personnel of the installation that participated in this program. The one that I would like to focus upon is the Building Energy Intensity Labeling Program in government buildings. These are the logo and the ratings that we have set up and also have received a cabinet approval. So for 5-star rating are those government buildings with BEI below 100 kilowatt hour per meter squared per year, and 1-star rating building is those with BEI of above 250 kilowatt hour per meter squared per year, and that is a label that will be placed in the building where it is most commonly can be easily seen by officers and visitors. We are targeting to label about 5,000 government buildings 2023 onwards. However, our progress is a bit hindered by the pandemic, where we cannot continue our discussion with the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Health, and so on and so forth. But we are still targeting these numbers because it is easy program. We do not need to basically visit the place. All we need to do is receive the information from the owner or representatives, and from there we can calculate the BEI ratings. So far, up to date, we have 232 government buildings that has been labeled, and 18 private buildings that has been labeled, who has participated voluntarily. The benefits of this of BEI labeling is that 40% of energy produced and 70% of electricity generated are being consumed by buildings. So that is why building energy efficiency is becoming very important. We wish to accelerate efforts in making government buildings efficient and smarter through government lead by example initiative, to provide and disseminate info to building occupants on the type of energy that they are consuming, to create a platform for peer review government building performance as well as periodic monitoring, and to help government achieve the national commitment to reduce GHG emission intensity of GDP by 45% in 2030. Our National Building Energy Label will be the first move to assist government buildings to be certified as green building by our voluntary rating tools such as GBI, Green RE, MyCREST, and Green Pass, and BCA Green Mark. So basically, we are not competing with any of these rating tools. But what we are doing is actually becoming the first move for them to be able to assist this government building to be certified as green building. A bit of way forward. Well, when it comes to EE, of course, you need a funding mechanism, because there are some projects or pilot projects that we need to fund in order to showcase that EE is not impossible. We still need to improve the resources of EE experts in Malaysia, such as Energy Auditor and MMV. We do constantly intensify our enforcement of EE legislation. We do conduct periodic energy audit on these measures that they have been, the installation has been doing. We do need to strengthen our policy and legal framework, and that is why we have drafted our new Energy Efficiency and Conservation Act, Electrical and Thermal, and is currently in the final process of being reviewed by the legal advisor. We always constantly need to create an awareness program, foster EE culture among industry stakeholders and the public, and of course the monitoring system, smart building, and so on and so forth, where we do promote the smart meter and smart grid implementation so that everyone can monitor their own consumption. And I believe I have come to my final slide. So you can contact us at the following web address, or you can phone us at that particular number, or you can email us at eec@st.gov.my. Thank you very, very much for your kind attention. And Engineer Yao, back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Encik Zulkifli, for the great sharing, especially on the latest EE initiatives in the country, and also on the Energy Audit Conditional Grant 2.0, which I believe would have made the building owners and energy managers excited today as well.
Yes.
Now, just a house rule. Thank you again, Encik Zulkifli. To our audience, again, just a reminder, do drop your question at the comment section. If you have your handphone, you go to the handphone, there's a comment section, and do drop your questions there, and we will actually be answering them in the forum discussion later. Now, just a quick question from one of the questions posted. Is there any release of the slides to you all? What we'll do is we will get the consent from the speakers. If it's allowed, then we will actually release the slides to all of you after the talk. Okay, so take note of that. Now, let us move on to our next speaker. Our second panelist is none other than Engineer Leong Siu Ming from the AShtray Malaysia chapter. I'll bring him on screen with me, and present to us the second topic of the webinar, Energy Outlook 2021 from the ACMV perspective. Engineer Leong, are you ready to be on screen?
Hello. Good afternoon. Yes.
Hi, good afternoon, Engineer Leong.
Thank you very much.
Hi, you can put on slides.
Okay, can you see the slides?
Hold on. Yes, the slides is ready. So over to you, Engineer Leong.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Let me start from the first one. Thanks to panel and organizing chairman Engineer Yao for the introduction, and also MC Mr. Jason Lim for the kind introduction. Of course, many thanks to the organizer IEM and CIS on behalf of ASHRAE Malaysia chapters and my president, Mr. Ng Wen Ping. I'd like to thank very much for the invitation to participate in this engineer power talk. Before I proceed, let me share with you a little bit of a reflection on the current energy situations. Of course, it's unfortunate that the COVID-19 outbreak has caused much suffering and interruptions, and also damaged global economy. And Malaysia and the ASEAN are no exception. Of course, while much efforts are needed to manage and overcome the current crisis, I think we shouldn't overlook in getting our buildings ready, as NJ Omar mentioned that actually energy consumption in building sectors is actually quite substantial, and we should building owners should be ready in getting back building in readiness for full operation when economy recovers. Why is it so? Because we should not forget the risk of a warming world and a changing climate due to our economic activities can actually be as great as those damages brought about by the COVID pandemic. Next, this is I hope this diagram, this photo give us a refreshing start. I have to thank my daughter Jessica Leong for taking this photo off Great Ocean Road, Victoria. Okay, I'll start off by borrowing Energy Commission's great effort in energy consumption and data sharing in national energy balance on the understanding of energy consumption. Later, I'll end with the operational challenges of ACMV system. Okay, as I said, the Energy Commission has published the National Energy Balance 2016 on the survey done in commercial sectors and residential sectors. As you can see in the pie chart, the space cooling actually takes up a very significant share of energy use at 42%. At the same time, in the little box I put up, BSIP was the Building Sector Energy Efficiency Projects in 2017. Based on the Danida 205 studies, the ACMV actually takes up a very high, significant share at the 49%. Nevertheless, it showed that space cooling does takes up a big chunk of the energy used in building sectors. On the other hand, the residential sectors in the survey, it shows space cooling only 11%. I believe this is a low number, probably because it's taken. It's a survey was a nationwide survey that includes the rural and urban areas. I believe if it's urban areas, if you look at urban area consumption, this number probably much higher. Okay, I think the very pertinent question is on the influence of COVID-19 pandemic on energy use. In summary, I just want to say that ASHRAE, these are based on ASHRAE resources information, and ventilation and filtration system can actually, in the ACMV system, can reduce airborne infectious aerosols. In other words, through a proper operation, ACMV operation, we can actually apply some mitigation measures to manage and reduce the airborne exposures. In the meantime, ASHRAE research actually has this interesting finding, that maintaining RH, relative humidity in air-conditioned space between 40 and 60%, it can decrease the bioburden of infectious particles in the space and would decrease infertility of many viruses in the air. But of course, I think MS 1525, our Malaysian standard on the energy efficiency in buildings, recommend 50 to 70%. So I believe for our climate, the appropriate range may be in the range of 50 to 60%. Next is the ASHRAE finding also recommend that the in-room air cleaners actually will be helpful in helping to remove particles, including those containing viruses and other microorganisms in air-conditioned space. So with these two mitigation measures, we believe that there will be increase in the use of energy for air conditioners and air cleaner appliances like air cleaners. Next is the working from home. We have experienced the MCO, movement control orders, and many of us need to work from home. Like now, this webinar talk, we actually have to do it from our respective houses. So working from home is the new norm, and use of air conditioner will also be increased, and hence the energy use can be expected to increase. I'll show later how we can manage this increased use of air conditioners. As I said, the ASHRAE resources actually have published a number of information and documents and guidelines to address COVID-19 concerns. By the way, ASHRAE is a global professional society on air conditioning and ventilation and refrigerations. We are committed to serve humanity by advancing the arts of sciences in heating, ventilation, air conditioning, refrigeration, and live fuels. So these are just an example of some of the document and guidelines available in ASHRAE websites. Now, next, I would like to borrow Professor Chandra Sekkar's diagram. It's a nice diagram to illustrate a typical overview of a typical ACMV air distribution system. As I mentioned just now, the increased ventilation and high efficiency filtration system can actually manage and control the airborne aerosols. Of course, if we have too much fresh air, it will make will definitely increase the use of electricity in operating the system. So demand control ventilation is highly recommended. It's a requirement by ASHRAE standard energy standard 90.1 and also high performance buildings. So next, I want to highlight that what are the component or criteria of energy efficient healthy buildings. First is the indoor air quality. Next, thermal comfort. We want a comfortable environment in air-conditioned spaces. And of course, by reduction use of energy and resources, we can manage the GHG greenhouse gas emission reduction. as NJ Zhou mentioned just now, the saving can be achieved through operation. So through continuous monitoring of energy performance parameters like BEI, actually can help control or manage the energy consumption. I in the bottom diagram show the traditional building cycle: design, installation, commissioning, and retro commissioning, and also building operation. We know that design and installation are very much are very important, but equally important is the commissioning and retro commissioning and the building operation in managing energy use. This diagram, this slide shows the simple some of the ideas that we can reduce our energy consumption in the use of air conditioners at home and in buildings. Passive design. Passive design is the building building orientation, daylighting, use of daylighting instead of electric lighting, facade design, natural ventilation, thermal insulation, strategic landscaping. All this renewable energy can help minimize solar heat gain, improve thermal comfort, daylighting, and indoor air qualities and acoustic comfort. Next is the active design. Active design, I highlighting the three main areas. One is the lighting for three areas. This ACMV plants is one. So later I'll touch on the making use of state-of-the-art technology integrated with ICT for real-time EEC management can really achieve very effective results. So as I said, the technology measures are actually incorporated in high-performance buildings, which have philosophy from to the operating and maintenance regime, from component based to system thinking, to the use of smart thinking technologies. The diagram shows the level 1 control. Level 1 control is the connection to BAS wire gateway. Level 2 is inter-components to other component in the system. And level 3, the connection to interface and local service tools. So in other words, use of BAS for energy management, like managing trend data, storage of information and retrieval of information, setting up information for metrics and variable and graphs, use of trending logs to manage and troubleshoot, fault detection and diagnostic function, etc. I believe the next generation of smart technology, building technology, will not only ensure energy efficiency, but also should address the building occupant comfort. What are the challenges? The challenges I see are in the operation, is how to operate and optimize use of energy according to current facility requirements, because we know the function and use of buildings, the facility requirement do have changes. And next is how to address the gap between design and energy efficient operation of buildings. We know very well design, energy efficient design buildings may not give a guarantee or give 100% energy efficiency achievement if operation of buildings is not efficient. Possible solution I suggest is one is to conduct retro commissioning, meaning is apply the commissioning process to existing buildings. Next is adopt high performance building approach. That means, in other words, make use of state-of-the-art technology integrated with ICT for real-time EC management, like continuous monitoring, tracking, detecting, self-diagnostic functions, process optimization, and so on, will really help to optimize energy efficient operation on a real-time basis. I believe this is my last slide. Thank you very much. Back to you, Engineer Yao. Thank you.
Thank you, Engineer Leong, for sharing with us the strategies in ACMV, especially on how to optimize the energy usage during the pandemic period as well. So to our audience, again, a reminder for those who have questions to Engineer Leong, do put on your questions at the comment section, especially for those who are using a handphone or FB Live, just put on your questions in the comment section, and we'll try to answer them at the forum discussion later after the three panelists have actually spoken. Now, let's move on to our third and final panelist. Let's invite Mr. Yong Xian Wei from team to join me on screen and bring together with his topic, Energy Outlook 2021 on the renewable energy on solar PVs. Mr. Yong, are you ready on the screen?
Hi, good afternoon to all the audience. Thank you, Engineer Yao, for the introduction. So I'm here representing the Electrical and Electronics Association of Malaysia, and I think on behalf of team, I'd like to thank IEM as well as CF for inviting us to speak on this special topic on renewable energy, specifically on solar PV. So let me just start my slide. So basically, the renewable energy in Malaysia is supported by three government policies, namely the National RE policy, the MESI 2.0, as well as the Renewable Energy Transition Roadmap. So these three policies is what actually is driving the renewable energy policy. But let me bring your focus here today on solar PV. So solar PV, in terms of the progress in Malaysia, it started in 2016 when the first feed-in tariff program was introduced. During then, the feed-in tariff program was also a success, and then, sorry, let me just correct myself again. It was introduced in 2011, and then the program ended in 2016. And in 2016, it was then replaced with a different solar program called the net energy metering. Now, net energy metering 1.0, I would call it, was a 500 megawatt of quota provided for applicants to apply, and then in 2018, the NEM 1.0 was actually revamped to provide one offset tariffs for any surplus energy that is to be exported to the grid. Now, by the end of 2020, the NEM 2.0 program was such a success, and the growth, where there was a 7.8 times of increment of approved NEM 2.0, and the program actually ended 1 month before it was scheduled to end. So with such a very good uptake of solar PV in the industry, the government did a very good job in terms of actually continuing with the next program called the Net Energy Metering 3.0. And this was actually, NEM 3.0 was actually announced in 29 December with a new 500 megawatt of quota. Now, apart from the feed-in tariff and net energy metering, the other program that the solar industry has in Malaysia is the large-scale solar program. The large-scale solar program was actually developed by the Energy Commission of Malaysia, and the main purpose was to actually reduce the levelized cost of energy (LCOE) through the development of large-scale solar PV plants. And this program was first introduced in 2016, and continued with the next LSS2 program in 17, and then LSS3 was in 18, and then eventually the latest LSS4, the result was actually announced just this month. So far, the total offered projects under the large-scale solar program is at 2,356.824 megawatt AC. That's been awarded by the Energy Commission. But up to now, up to Q4 of 2020, and there's only about 856.752 megawatt AC has been commissioned in operations. So let me share more, come back and share more about the net energy metering program. This is just a diagram for everyone to understand what net energy metering is. It basically is, if you just look at this screen, this could be a building, a residential, or even a commercial industrial. The green dotted line would cover the asset of the solar panels and the inverter. And then, so usually when the solar panels generate DC electricity, it would then convert to AC to inverter. And it would then be injected into your main distribution board, or for a CNI building, via main switchboard. And from there, the energy generated by solar would be consumed in real time first, and any surplus of energy would then be exported to the grid. So in the net energy metering program for 3.0, only the residential and government buildings has the continuation of the one-to-one offset tariff, which is an attractive program. However, for the commercial industrial, there is a different scheme that will be launched by the end of this month, 1st of April. There will be more details to be released then. So again, the basics of what net energy metering really is it's a program for any consumer to utilize the solar electricity in real time, and then any surplus would then be exported to the grid. And for any applicant for a net energy metering quota, it has to be done by a registered service provider under the Sustainable Energy Development Authority of SEDA. This is a screenshot of the press announcement that was made about the Energy 3.0. If I just touch on the right column here, this is more in tune with what the NEM 3.0 program for the commercial industry. There's 300 megawatts of quota that has been announced, and the program will only be launched in 1st of April. Now, the difference that you want to see here is that for the NEM Rakyat here is for the residential program, and the NEM for government here is for government buildings. NOVA, which stands for Net Offset Virtual Aggregation, will be used only for commercial industrial accounts with a utility such as TMB. Now, and the ability for you to export your surplus of solar energy to the grid will only be valid for 10 years. All right. So after 10 years, all applicants are then expected to then be moved into a self-consumption scheme. I will share more what a self-consumption scheme is. But the other point I would like to highlight here is that if you're a CNI customer or a account holder, your export tariff will be under what we call the system marginal price. Now, what is system marginal price is, you could actually look up the price of this. It's a fluctuation of pricing based on what the market rate, that's what single buyer is purchasing from all generators in the country. So you could actually look up at the website of www.singlebuyer.gov. If you can Google it up, actually, you'll be able to find what the price is. But the price range, the last I've seen was hovering around 13 to 14 cents per kilowatt hour in ringgit. And then yeah, so that would be something that you can explore more. Now I'm going to talk about also the other scheme for solar is the self-consumption scheme. Now, there is a guideline that has already been actually announced back in 2017 by the Energy Commission. This is also accessible through the website of the Energy Commission. Now, what self-consumption would basically mean is that you will not be allowed to export any excess energy, solar energy, to the grid. Everything that you generate has to be consumed behind the meter. There is also a limitation in terms of the size of the solar system that you'll be able to build with a self-consumption scheme, and it is mentioned in the guideline that if you're still connected to TMB, as in you're still importing energy from the grid, there will be a maximum of 70, there will be a limit for you to design a system at 75% of the maximum demand. But if you're not to the grid, then there is no capacity limit. So it's like you're an off-grid system. Okay. Now let me just talk about the highs and what are the challenges for 2021. So the highs is that it's thanks to our government, they've done a very good job in continuing the solar program with the Net Energy Metering 3.0 program. It is good news for us that with the first NEM Rakyat for all residential homes in Malaysia can apply for solar, the Net Energy Metering scheme. But there is a limit as to a 10 kilowatt AC of limit that you can apply for, and there is 100 megawatts of quota there for people to apply. And the second program, of course, is the Goldman program, that's 100 megawatt, and then the commercial industrial has 300 megawatts of quota under the NOVA program. Now, this is very good for us to stimulate more of the solar industry and the supporting industries. And the third point here under the highs of the 2021 is that there is still various opportunities for solar PV projects to be developed under the existing policies. For example, I mentioned the self-consumption model, the SELCO model, and there is also a model under the Energy Commission called NEDA. You can also look that up in the website of the Energy Commission. Now, of course, the fourth point I would like to highlight is that there is still an attractive fiscal incentives for all any solar investments. We have the Green Investment Tax Allowance, that's GITA, and Green Incentive Tax Exemption, Green Income Tax Exemption, and the Green Financing Scheme, which basically provides a subsidy on the interest from the bank that would lend you, that would finance you for your solar projects. So all this actually is still available, and I think these are the good news for 2021 for any of you who are still looking to invest in solar. Now, what are the challenges for 2021? Specifically for the commercial industrial stakeholders, I think especially for SMEs, factories do not operate, especially for factories that do not operate 24/7. There will be a challenge for you to apply for this program because the SMP rate is rather on a competitive low price if you were to export those energy. If you were to rely on exporting your energy via the NOVA program, you have to actually perform a proper financial returns calculation to see if it actually is attractive for your investment. So it is a challenge compared to what the rate was in NEM 2.0 last year. So I think, but still, if any of your potential stakeholders want to explore that, contact your closest service provider under the SEDA website, and then you'll be able to at least get a study done on your viability. Now, the second point of the challenge that I would like to share is, you see, if you were to install solar with an energy storage, you actually be able to be independent in terms of performing your own self-consumption or even an off-grid solution technically. Now, but the challenge that we have now is that the prices of battery, especially lithium-ion technology, is not yet attractive enough for us to actually invest in, to have a very positive return. So the bottleneck is still, without a commercial viable solar plus storage solution, I don't see how the industry, in the commercial industry sector, can actually grow as much as it did in NEM 2.0 last year. Now, let me talk about what's exciting about the future. If you look at the future, renewable energy has still a very, very interesting role to play in the next 5 to 10 years. Number one, electric mobility. Malaysian regional neighbors, Thailand, Indonesia, Singapore, they all have announced a a strong policy towards electric mobility. Now, this will increase energy demand for the country, right? And by that time, we will have also, I believe within 5 years, 3 to 5 years perhaps, we could see a proliferation of renewable energy, solar specifically, plus energy storage, which will grow in tandem with the drop in solar, PV, and energy storage prices. This will be very exciting in the future. We might be talking about maybe 2 to 3 years from now. And the third point is that I think all this infrastructure will require financing as well. And there has been a lot of excitement in the environmental sustainable goal, ESG related theme in many banks, financial institutions who wants to get involved in this industry. So I think I do see an area of competitiveness in the financing part. My fourth point in the future is that there will be also an increase in terms of adoption and the merging of advanced energy efficient technology with renewables. And that would then bring a lot of integration also with renewables between EE and RE. And my fifth point is that decentralization and also market liberalization is inevitable. It is just a matter of when it would happen. And with the Malaysian electricity supply industry MESI 2.0 program, we will see an open trade of electricity perhaps in the future of prosumers and consumers. So I think in conclusion, I would like to finish my point in saying solar energy is a really great alternative energy source. It is the fastest to deploy, and it is the most abundant renewable energy source available. As long as the sun shines, we could take advantage of green energy. And again, thanks to the many various incentives that our government is still continuing to support. Malaysia is set to be one of the leading regional players of solar service providers. And last but not least, I think for us to achieve 20% target for us to achieve a generation mix of renewable energy by 2025, I think there's still a lot of effort and an exciting time ahead of us. Strong efforts needs to be continued in order for us to reach that target. So I think without further ado, I will leave. This is my last slide. This is my contact here. If there's any more further questions, feel free to contact me. And I thank you again for your time for listening. Engineer Yao, back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Yong, for the great sharing on the highs and challenges towards the renewable energy industry, in particular solar PVs. To our audience again, if you have any questions to Mr. Yong, please post your questions on the comment section, and shortly we will be actually starting our discussion forum. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have heard from the three panelists today, Encik Zulkifli on the latest of the EE regulations and initiatives from Energy Commission. Now, Engineer Leong also shared with us the potential ACMV strategies in adopting EE, as well as Mr. Yong on the outlook of solar PV in the industries. Now, it's truly a good sharing by the three speakers, indeed, towards achieving the SDG goals that I've mentioned earlier. Now, we shall move on to the next section, the discussion forum, and let us maybe have a few questions to be tackled, especially from the audience as well as fellow engineers. And of course, one house announcement. I believe some of you are actually requesting for the slides from the speakers. So now do a private message or PM the organizers in the FB, your email addresses, and we will actually be getting the consent from the speakers and panelists to release the slides to you for your reference. Okay, so let's invite all the panelists to join me on screen, Encik Zulkifli, Engineer Leong, as well as Mr. Yong. And let us begin the discussion forum in a short while. Okay, three of them are in. Now, we have the first question. Are you all ready, the panelists? All ready?
Yes.
To tackle some of the questions? Mr. Yong, ready? Okay. The first question goes to Encik Zul from Mr. Shafiq Khairi. The question goes like this. What is the strategy taken by Energy Commission to achieve net zero carbon emission? Maybe I repeat. What's the strategy taken by Energy Commission to achieve net zero carbon emission?
Excellent. So an excellent question. quite difficult to answer because I don't think we have any strategy as of yet, not just Energy Commission, but also in general for us to achieve net zero carbon emission. Because it requires the focus on all of our energy sector in Malaysia, not just electricity, but also gas and so on and so forth. So as far as I know, personally, I not have seen a net zero carbon emission. What we have is a reduction of carbon emission by 45% as pledged by the previous PM at COP21 or something. That is what we have at the moment. But with respect to the questions of net zero carbon emission, we do have a discussion with our Japanese counterpart with regards to having a net zero energy building in Malaysia. So the international standard, I was informed, has been approved by the International Standards Council, and we are now in the sharing knowledge session with our Japanese counterpart with regards to the standards and having a net zero energy building in Malaysia. Thank you.
Thank you, Ichizu, for the reply. The next question goes to Engineer Leong. Very layman question actually. Is it true that it is now better to stay outdoor or dine outdoor instead of under the air conditioning room? So maybe I just repeat. Is it true that it is now better to stay outdoor or dine outdoor instead of in the air conditioning room? Leong, would you be able to answer that?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for the questions. Firstly, I think the spread of infectious disease is not only airborne but through direct contact as well. In that case, is speaking on the transmission via airborne. I believe is safer outdoor, but then for our kind of climate, it's not practical to have all our outdoor activities. So my opinion is we can carry out our activities or dine indoors, providing the operation of the air conditioning system has or follow certain guidelines like increased ventilations and with proper improved filtration system. Actually, ASHRAE doesn't recommend switching off the air conditioning because unconditioned indoor spaces can cause thermal stress. Is not good for occupants because it can lower our resistance to infection. So instead of shutting down the aircon system, we should increase ventilation with improved filtration and use standalone air cleaners perhaps. Besides following, adhering to the health indoor health guidelines like SOP and so on should be followed. Thank you.
Thanks, and Jin Leong for the reply. I'll take note as well when I'm dying outdoors or indoors. Okay. The next question goes to Mr. Yong from Richie. I believe he's from Sarawak. He wants to ask whether the program of NEM Rakyat can apply at Sarawak. I believe Mr. Yong would have the answer. Mr. Yong? Yeah.
Yes, the NEM Rakyat is actually only applicable for one tuition licensee at the moment, and that is TMB. So it is not applicable for Sarawak or Sabah.
Okay, quite straightforward for that. I believe that has answered Mr. Richie question. Perhaps in future, maybe there will be programs for other states as well, Sarawak maybe. Okay, we move on to the next question. Goes back to Encik Zulkifli. This question is from. Hold on, the question jumps. Give me a minute. The question from Encik Zulkifli. Let me put up a question again. A question from Zulkifli from Encik Hamiza Abdul Rahman. Do EC or Energy Commission have further info about BEI labeling in the EC website?
I don't think so. Because the program is relation to government buildings only. And since we have received the approval from the cabinet, it has sort of become an instruction to all government buildings to adhere to the requirement of BI labeling. We did come up with a poster, a small brochure on the information, but that is for the purpose of government installation. When we went for a visit or when we do some talks, we disseminate the info. The main reason is because, as I said, it's for government building initiatives only. However, if you want further info, you can always email us at the email address given just now, and we will share with you whatever we have for your information. Engineer, by the way, there is a question by Mr. Zaini before
Yeah.
that has asked us about the EECG 2.0. And can I respond to it now?
Yes, Ken. Maybe
Sure.
I'll just put up the question.
Sure.
The next question is for you. From Inche Zaini, for EACG 2.0, can one company with many installations under the EMER 2008 apply for more than one installation to get the grant? I believe you have the answer for that as well. Yeah.
Yes, we do. Well, I can say we do not encourage that because this program that we have is more like showcase kind of program where we wanted one particular building in so many installation to have this grant and to conduct the energy audit and as well as energy retrofitting. And the success of that building's retrofitting can be showcased to other buildings in that under the same roof or the same company. So that's what our intention is. And we want as many installation as possible to participate in the program, so it becomes a widespread program instead of just focusing on one particular company. Thank you.
Okay, let me put up the next question. If I just check whether is there any. The next question is from Mr. Yong, from one of the participants. We noted that the demand for the renewable energy sector in the coming years, currently in the perspective of team, we understand that a large portion of the works and materials are of imported products and services. So any intention to leverage and develop further local contents of this energy sector? So maybe I'll repeat for Mr. Yong. We noted that the demand of energy sector is increasing, and in the perspective of team or yourself, we understand that the large portion of the works are imported products. So any intention to leverage and develop local contents for this particular sector? Okay, Mr. Yong, would you be able to take this question?
Thank you for the question, Engineer Yao. I think that's a very good question in terms of our local industry. I think first of all, in the solar PV system, at least 50% of the value of the equipment are made of the solar panels as well as the solar inverters. If we take these two items right now, majority of the solar panel inverters are being imported from mainly China and the rest of the world. And these two makes up about 50%. Now, right now, the market competitiveness of these two equipment is what actually is driving the competitiveness of solar to be for investors to take on a green investment. Now, and that is important to grow the industry. But if we talk about the balance of the system, the 50% of the value of a solar system consists of the engineering works, the project management, the installations, as well as the balance of plant systems for such as cables, electrical, media, and low voltage equipment, and the rest of the accessories that would be required to do for the systems. Now, team has a very wide base of members who are both manufacturers and suppliers of these equipment, and I think a lot of them are really readily available in Malaysia, and the local industry are actually witnessing a growth in this area with the growth of solar. So I think, however, there is still an opportunity for us to grow the sector in solar panels, inverters, and that has to be still technological driven, and with in mind that it has to be competitive with volume, global volume supply chain. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. question. Let me pick the final question. It will be, it will be to Engineer Leong. Of course, we still have questions coming in. So what we'll do is, after this final question, we will actually keep in touch with all the participants and actually send you the replies because of the time constraint. So we'll just have a final question now for Ms. Engineer Leong. Question is, we noted on the increase in energy consumption due to the current pandemic situation in commercial and residential sector. So is there any studies also for the industrial sector as well? Maybe I'll just repeat. We noted on the increase in energy consumption due to the current pandemic situation in commercial and residential sector. But is there any studies also for the industrial sector as well? Engineer Leong?
Okay, thank you for the questions. As I said, mentioned just now, the expected increase in consumption in the residential sectors and commercial sectors are entirely my own observation. Because I think because of the working from home and the new norm in our lifestyle, I would expect there will be increase in energy consumption in the residential sector. But then for the commercial sectors, we should wait and see. I would expect when economy fully recovers, we should expect increase in the commercial sectors. Of course, all this we need to wait until the national energy balance to come up to confirm the trends. Nevertheless, I think for the industrial sectors, I personally, from the ACMV perspective, I don't see much influence or effect on that. That's entirely on ACMV perspective. Thank you.
Thank you, Engineer Leong. Once again, I believe we have heard so much from our speakers and sharing today. Actually, we still have questions coming in, but because of the time constraint, what we'll do is we will actually answer them separately through the emails and so forth. And I believe because I'm already running out of time. So, all right, before we end this webinar session, I would like to get the panelists to maybe give us some key takeaways for our audience in line with today's topic. Maybe we start with Engineer Zulkifli.
Thank you, Engineer Yao. Yeah, before that, there was one quick question whether GLC company can apply. Yes, they can. GLC company can apply. For the BI label,
yeah.
But it's still a voluntary program for you, not mandatory. Okay. Well, my key takeaways is that although we have done EE for quite some time, but there are still a lot more that we can do. We still need to do a lot more awareness program. We still need to do a lot more capacity building. And I believe IEM is a platform that can assist us with doing all that. We have been working with IEM closely for the past many years in many areas, and EE is one of them that we can explore and expand on it. So thank you very much for IEM for the opportunity, and thank you, Engineer Yao, for the excellent moderation. Thank you.
Thank you, Engineer Zulkifli. What about Engineer Leong? Any key takeaways for this?
Thank you very much. And I think like Mr. Zul mentioned just now, the IEA actually reported a drop in the EE investment. I think personally, I believe it's a good timing that this event gives us a reminder of the importance of EE and RE. It's simply because we cannot overlook the risk of climate change and so on. So we do need to remind ourselves of the needs to go back onto the EE and RE programs. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The last one, Mr. Yong, any key takeaways?
Yes, I think. Thank you, Engineer Yao. I think it's gonna be a very exciting time ahead of us. For companies or individuals who are looking to reduce operational expense through your electricity bills, do consider renewable energy technologies such as solar. It will be very, very beneficial. It is commercially viable at the moment, especially look at contact your local service providers to understand better as to what are the programs currently that the government can offer, and start with RE, and I think you won't regret seeing the results of it, and it pays to be green. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Yong. Thank you, Mr. Yong, Engineer Zulkifli, as well as Engineer Leong. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have heard the sharing from all the gentlemen today. With that, I would like to take this opportunity to say a big thank you to our panelists today, Engineer Zulkifli, Engineer Leong, and Mr. Yong, for sharing your thoughts and knowledge in this Power Talk. Now, there will be a full lineup of events and activities under the umbrella of IEM Convention, and we definitely look forward to Engineer in September, which is a must-go event for all the engineering fraternity personnel, and as well as engineers and so on. And let's come and source and learn and network and much more in this event. So thank you again for your views today, and we at Engineer are actually excited to welcome you all on board on this business event, where we will actually try to revitalize, rebuild, and re-engineer our industry together. So with that, thank you very much again to all participants. Thank you to all the panelists. And I would like to pass the time back to our MC again, Jason. Thank you, and see you again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Engineer Yao, and also our fellow panelists for sharing your view with us here today. And I'm sure our audience who are watching it right now live have benefited a lot from today's sessions. And just to name a few, for those who are still staying with us till the end, I saw that Sukaru Nizam, Lozin Singh, Khairul Aizan Anand, as well as many more, Yenko, Liu Wei Hong. You guys are still with us a lot more, and very excited that you guys stay to the end. Because we want to echo today's Power Talk, we want to call all the stakeholders in the engineering industry and let us all hold our hand tight together as we rebuild our nations and economy together. So if you would like to discover how you can gear up your business for 2021, do schedule an appointment with us, and our team will be able to be in touch with you to share more how you can take part in this very exciting business event. We have just posted a link in the chat in this Facebook comment. So you're going to do is just click on the link to schedule an appointment with us. And also echoing what Engineer Yao has shared with us, that Engineer 2021 as well as the inaugural IEM convention is scheduled to take place from 8 to 11 September at Kuala Lumpur Convention Center. And we look forward to see you, to welcome you. Once again, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to our moderator, Engineer Yao, our panelists, Mr. Zulkifli, Engineer Leong, and Mr. Yong for our time and share a lot of insightful knowledge with us today. And I wish our audience all the best as well as in good health. Till then, we see you in our next Power Talk session next month in April. And fellow gentlemen, shall we say a goodbye to our audience together?
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye. See you.
Goodbye and take care.